Hola, hola, damas y caballeros. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready to get started with our live stream number 7 coming in live and direct to you. All right, so vamos a empezar aquí. Welcome, welcome to everyone joining us. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit the like button because you're going to like what I'm bringing to you today. And if you have not subscribed yet to Speak Spanish Now, we have done a name change here, Speak Spanish Now, because that's the motto that we are working with. We want to make sure you get this information and can use it immediately. So today we are starting off with el calentamiento, with our warm up as we always do. We are glad you were in the building. So let's take a look at it right now. We're going to get it on the screen. It says, escribe la forma correcta del verbo querer en el presente. We want to write the correct form in the blank of the verb querer. This is what we were using last live stream last Friday. So we want to make sure that you are reviewing the information that you have gotten in the last couple of classes. Hola, señorita Chelsea. Bienvenida. All right. So we've got the verb querer. Número uno, yo blank comer unos tacos. You can go ahead and type your answers into the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can always add your answers into the comment section. Okay, so make sure you are well aware of how to get this done. We just need you to write the correct answer, the correct form, la forma correcta del verbo querer en el espacio en blanco. All right, so yo comer unos tacos. Número 2, Javier y Joaquín blank las hamburguesas con queso. All right. Y número 3, Susana blank jugar al fútbol con su amiga Rafaela. Y número 4, Susana, Rafaela y yo blank hablar por teléfono. Okay, close enough, Chelsea, close enough. We're going to give you the correct answer in a second here. Go ahead and fill in all your answers for number 2, 3, and 4. You are very close with that first one. All right. If you are joining us and you did not catch us in the last live, remember I gave you the hint from the commercial, the Taco Bell commercial back in the 90s. The little Chihuahua used to walk up on people and say, yo, blank, Taco Bell. Yo, blank, Taco Bell. All right, so go ahead and add in all of your answers. And while we are waiting for those answers, you can definitely take a look at the answer choices here. Or if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and pause the screen so that you can fill in your answers before you see what I give you momentarily. Okay, so this will be a good time to pause that. And also, if you're joining us for the first time and you know of some people here that could benefit from this lesson today, I am super excited about this one because we're going from the shallow end of the pool to the deep end of the pool today. So you don't want to miss out on what we've got going on here today. We also got a big surprise at the very end of this live stream. So we want to make sure you catch the necessary information that I'll be dropping on you about this huge surprise. All right, damas y caballeros, aquí tenemos las respuestas. Let's take a look at the answers here. Número uno, yo quiero comer unos tacos. All right, so Chelsea, you would want to take that I and move it before the E. Okay, yo quiero comer unos tacos. I want to eat some tacos because it's Taco Tuesday, right? All right, número dos, Javier y Joaquín quieren hamburguesas con queso. All right, Javier y Joaquín quieren hamburguesas con queso. So Javier and Joaquin want cheeseburgers. Okay. Número 3, Susana quiere. All right. Susana wants to play soccer with her friend Rafaela. All right. Quiere. Y número 4, Susana, Rafaela y yo queremos hablar por teléfono. Queremos. All right. So Susana, Rafaela, and I want to talk on the phone. Okay. So aquí tenemos las respuestas. Here we have the answers for el calentamiento. All All right, so vamos a continuar, and we've got, as we always do, we've got our palabra de vieja, all right, or la palabra vieja. It should not be. Let's go ahead and change that right now for the people that watch this on the replay. We just want to use la palabra vieja. All right, la palabra vieja, the old word. This is from the last live stream. It was to live. All right, to live. En español, vamos a usar vivir. And we're going to be working with vivir today as we introduce a new method. I know you're probably thinking, hey, man, you got a lot of methods. But if you take all these methods and put them together, it makes it easier for you to be able to communicate in español. All right, so vivir significa to live in inglés. Okay, y la palabra de hoy, today's word, go ahead and jot this one down in tu cuaderno. We've got I can. I can. En español, puedo. Or podemos decir, yo puedo. I can. It is in parentheses, yo, which is I, significa I, it means I, right? Yo is in parentheses because we can just utilize this word in Spanish, puedo, by itself. It not only tells us the subject or who is doing the action or saying the action here, it also tells us the correct form that agrees with yo. So you can, in Spanish, we don't have to have our subject pronoun or our personal pronoun to go along with our conjugation. We just simply need to have puedo. All right. And that definitely tells us I can or I am able to. Okay, damas y caballeros, what we are doing today, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're bringing sentences to life. Okay, so we want to be able to bring them to life by adding in the correct subject verb agreement. Okay, so learning to conjugate in the present tense is what we'll be focusing on today. So the first and foremost, we need to know what conjugate actually means. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, and we got WTF up here. It might be what you might want to say it means, but to me, it means what things frustrate me. What things frustrate me. All right, so let's break it down. What does conjugate mean? It means make the verb agree with the subject. The subject is the person that's doing the action. That's what we mean by conjugate. Okay, so just a quick review. Un repaso. We have the subject pronouns in español. All right, so remember we have yo. Significa I, tú, you, familiar. Él, ella, usted. He, she, and you, formal. Remember, we use you, formal, when we're talking to someone older than us, someone we don't know, and someone we know to show respect to, or someone we've never met before. That's when we use usted. Okay, our subject pronouns, our plural subject pronouns on the right-hand side, tenemos nosotros. All right, which is we. And if we have a group of girls and you are included and you are a woman or a lady, you would use nosotras in that group. Ustedes, which is y'all or you all. Okay, you all. And that's why we have these pictures here to kind of help you out. If you're somebody that learns from a visual standpoint, you can definitely use the pictures to help you out here. Ellos y ellas. All right, remember 2 L's make a Y sound here. Ellos, ellas, which is they. Okay, they, and it's obviously masculine and feminine. So they being a group of guys or a mixed group of guys and girls, or ellas, all women here. They. Okay, let's keep it going here. So repasemos. Let's review here. What is an infinitive? Okay, if you don't know what an infinitive is, ¿qué es un infinitivo? In English, we like to say that an infinitive is the basic form, the most basic form of a verb. Okay, it is the most basic form of a verb. And we're going to talk about that today with what we call the Three Amigos. All right, the Three Amigos. What are these three friends that we are talking about when we are conjugating verbs? We're talking about verbs that end in AR, ER, or IR. All right, hay tres tipos de verbos regulares. All right, so there's three types of regular verbs. We've got AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. Aquí tenemos unos ejemplos. Here we have some examples. Bailar, all right, which is an AR verb. Leer, ER verb. Y vivir, which is an IR verb. And that was our word of the day from last class. All right. So those are examples of these three verbs. You're only going to find verbs in Espanol, the infinitives that end in AR, ER, or IR. Okay. So make sure you get those notes down as well. All right. So, ¿cuál es la diferencia entre los verbos AR, ER, e IR? All right. So, what are the differences between these? Obvious reason or obvious thing that we can see here is they end in AR, ER, and IR. And we're going to be using these verbs in our activity for today. So make sure you've got tu cuaderno, y lápiz, o una pluma, your notebook, pencil, and or a pen so that you can get this information down and take it with you and study it as we come in for the next couple of classes. All right. So we dropped this concept, the drop and add concept. We used this very early on. All right. And here are three rules that we like to follow when you have to conjugate. All right. So we want to identify, first and foremost, you want to identify, is it an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb? All right. That's the first thing that you want to do. The second thing you want to do in your conjugation, all right, you want to drop the AR, the ER, or the IR, which are the last two letters of an infinitive, right? That's what we've been talking about. And then lastly, you want to add the correct ending so that it matches your subject, okay? So what we're talking about is making your subject agree with your verb, okay? That's what we want to drive home here. Okay, so por ejemplo, this is a review from AR verbs that we talked about in one of our previous live stream classes. Bailar, right? To dance, bailar. We're going to take, if we follow our rules here, identify, is it an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb? We take the AR off, right? Then it says drop it. So we did drop it, right? And then it says add the correct ending that matches the subject. Let's say our subject is nosotros, all right? Nuestro sujeto es nosotros. All right, so our subject is nosotros. Nosotros significa we, right? So we want to take that off. We got to remember, what are our endings for AR verbs? Well, we've got the stem left here. All right, we took our root off. We've got the stem left. Here is the ending for an AR verb if our subject is nosotros, right? Okay, so let's do a little recap here, okay? Because I want to make sure we drive this home and you've got this in your mental Rolodex or your Spanish toolbox. All right, aquí tenemos todas las terminaciones. All right, so we've got all of our endings for AR verbs. Aquí tenemos las terminaciones for ER verbs. Okay, so notice those. And we're going to add in the subject so that you know which subject goes with which ending on your verb after you drop that AR, ER, or IR. All right, so yo goes with o, tú goes with us, él, ella, o usted. One of those three. If you're going to use that, he, she, or you formal, it goes with a on the end of the verb. Nosotros, nosotras go with amos. Ustedes goes with on, as well as ellos or ellas. Now, if you're looking at this ampersand or this at sign here, you're trying to figure out, why do I have that in a word? Remember, I like to simplify a lot of the wording on the screen here so that you can understand that nosotros would be a group of guys and yourself, all right? A group of guys and girls and yourself. And if it's all women, it would be a group of girls and yourself if you are a woman. All right. Ustedes, remember that means you all. And then ellos, ellas, same situation with nosotros or nosotras. All right. Ellos, they, group of guys, they, a mixed group of guys and girls. And if it's all women that you were talking about, you would use ellas. Okay, so let's keep going here. Before we jump into it, I want to make sure you understand that we have the opportunity for you to pick up 8 additional strategies and 4 additional introductory lessons. We have that available on Amazon. You can check the link in the description for this information so that you can get your copy today. It is over 80% off, and that's going all the way into the new year. So make sure you get your copy, click on it, and find out what the good stuff is about knowing and becoming a better Spanish speaker. All right, so This is where we get into it. This is what I like. I call it the flower method, okay? This is going to go with our three amigos, right? Los tres amigos. The flower method. I want you to jot that down, say it out loud, put it to memory. The flower method. All right. So I want you to take a look at the flower that we have here. All right. It might be an African violet. I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comment section. But we want to look at this flower and understand what's going on. And I've got some illustrations that I've drawn for you. I'm not an artist. I am a Spanish teacher. That's all I do. So bear with me on my illustrations. All right. So think about what you see right here as far as the flower is concerned. Okay. So here we go. Paso número uno. All right. This is step number one. We have to identify the root of our verb. Okay. We have to identify. That's the first thing we want to do. Identify the root of our verb. Is it an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb? You look at the last two letters of the infinitive, which is the basic form, right? Step one, identify which root you have here, okay? So let's say we have the root IR, okay? We know that that is the root that we're searching for. We know by looking at the last two letters, this is an IR verb. Now, check the stem, okay? Check the stem. Follow my cursor right here. We have the stem VIV, right? And we put the stem on it, we put the root on it, IR, okay? Vivir, which we know is our word from last class, vivir, which is to live, all right? So, what's the next step if we're out in the field, we see a flower, and you want to take it home, and you want to put it in a vase or a vase, whichever way you say it, tomato, right? What's the next step here from getting that to the vase? All right. Work with me on this artist part, okay? So we want to understand. When we take this flower out of the ground, you don't put the flower with the roots in the vase, right? You take the roots off. So step three, now we have just our flower, okay? We've got just the flower and the stem, okay? And now notice that our petals are our endings for IR verbs, all right? So I want you to jot this down. You can jot it down in the illustration that I have here, or you can just simply write it out. I want you to follow along and write it down the way that I say this so you can kind of put this to memory for los verbos ER, all right, for the IR verbs. So, yo goes with O, right? Nothing changes here. Tú goes with es. Él, ella, usted goes with e. The nosotros form or nosotras form goes with imos for our ending, okay? And then our ending for ellos, ellas, ustedes goes with en. If you look at this, and you look at what we've covered already before in a previous class, you would know that these are the same endings except for la forma de nosotros. All right, la forma de nosotros is imos. It's IMOS. And that's going to help you remember, well, IR verbs have IMOS, but all of the other endings are going to be exactly the same as ER verbs. Okay, notice we still have our stem here, VIV. All right, this is step three. Knowing your conjugated endings that we're going to put on our stem, which is right here, VIV. All right, we're still in the present tense. We're talking about I blank or I am blanking, ing. Something, whatever the verb is. Let's take it to step four. We've now taken off one of the petals, okay? Make sure you know which one we took off. If you're in the chat right now, which petal did we take off? Type that into the chat. Which petal did we remove from this flower? Okay. What was the ending that we removed? Go ahead and type that into the chat if you were right there, or you can put it in the comment section if you're watching this on the replay. Okay. So we've taken the petal that ends in O, right? Which is the yo form, right? So let's take a look at what we now have come up with. Yo. All right, that's our subject, nuestro sujeto. Vivo, all right, vivo. Notice that we took our O. That was our O off of the petal, off the flower. The petal off the flower was the O. And then we're just going to add in a couple of words because if you remember the method we've talked about before, and if you've seen the short about the ICE method, we identify our subject, right? We conjugate our verb, that's the C in ICE, and then E, we're going to end our sentence. Yo vivo en Colorado. All right. Yo vivo en Colorado. So what are we saying in English? All right. Doesn't really matter what we're saying in English, but I want you to be able to correlate and understand what it is that we're saying. So yo vivo en Colorado. I, subject, live, conjugated form of vivir, which is vivo, right? We followed our steps. We took off the IR. We added the correct ending, all right? We dropped the IR. I'm sorry. We identified that it was an IR verb. We dropped the ending, and then we added O to help us understand that we need subject-verb agreement here. Yo vivo en Colorado. I live in Colorado, or I am living in Colorado. Okay, so there you have the present tense sentence. Simple as that. I've got a few additional examples, ejemplos para ustedes. All right, so I've got some examples for you. Let's see if you can pick up what I'm putting down right here. All right, so we've got tú vives en una casa. Tú vives en una casa. Okay, this was the next petal that we took off the flower. All right, the es ending, it goes with tú. Tú vives en una casa. You live in a house. Okay, you live in a house. Okay, la próxima. Susi vive en La Habana. All right, Susi vive en La Habana. Susie lives in Havana, Cuba, right? Susie lives in Havana or La Habana. So what did we do? We took off the petal that was the E and added it to our subject, which we have is ella, right? Or Susie. All right, here's our next example. Pedro y yo vivimos en un apartamento. Pedro y yo vivimos en un apartamento. Pedro and I live in an apartment. Okay. We took off our next petal off the flower, right? The imos. And we added it to our stem. Remember the flower, right? If you don't, just run it back so you can see it, okay? Pedro y yo vivimos en un apartamento. Pedro and I live in an apartment, or we are living in an apartment. And then lastly, la última oración. Ellos viven en Costa Rica. Ellos viven en Costa Rica, right? So they live in Costa Rica, all right? Or they are living in Costa Rica. So make sure you understand this and jot it down and put it into your Spanish toolbox so that you can understand how to conjugate here. We want to make sure that you review this information about dropping and adding. Once again, here are our terminaciones, or our endings, once we take off the AR, all right? Once we take off the ER, and once we take off the IR. Look very closely and understand that the ER verbs and the IR verbs have the same endings except for la forma de nosotros, all right? Except for the nosotros ending. I mean, the nosotros subject, they are different in the endings for those verbs once we take off the ER or IR. All right, so just giving you some background information again so that you know. And this part, yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, ustedes, ellas, ellos, you add it up, you put it in the same situation for ER and IR. They match accordingly. All right, so you've got yo con O, tú con es, él, ella, usted con e, nosotros, nosotras con hemos, ellos, ellas, ustedes con en. Y la misma situación con los verbos que termina en IR. We've got the same situation for IR verbs as well. All right, you would drop those accordingly. Okay, so we're good to go. Now, we want to make sure that you know about our Spanish, Speak Spanish Now boot camp. We also have that going on. It's coming up next week. So if you are ready to travel to Latin America and get your Spanish on, get your Spanish speaking on, or you're going to be right around in your neighborhood in wherever you live at and talking with Spanish speakers, we have the Spanish Speak Spanish Now boot camp popping off next Monday. It will go Monday through Friday, 1 hour every day. We want to get you ready to go especially if you're getting ready to travel or you are planning on becoming an expat in a Spanish-speaking country. You definitely want to join us for that. Take a look at the link right here, screenshot, whatever you need, but you can also find that information on our Instagram, which is speakspanishnow.tv. You can also find it there. All right, here we go. We are going back to what we talked about in last class. We're going to use the mesh method, okay? We're going to start blending stuff together here so that you can speak in sentences and not do what they are doing in like apps where they give you a word and you've got to, create. I'm going to give you the basic forms of everything, and you're going to put it together based on the flower method that we've used, and you're going to use our drop and add method that we're talking about. So let's take a look right here. All right, so we're going to make this bigger for you to see it. So give me a second here. We're going to make this super large. Okay, so here we go. We've got everything that we've been working on, all the methods. We've got the ICE method. We've got the drop and add method. We've got the flower method. We've got our mesh method. And what we mean by mesh is that you're bringing all of these together. You're bringing all the columns together to make a sentence. Now, you've got to remember, though, we cannot utilize just what we see in the second column here. You can't just utilize necesitar, because that is the basic form of a verb, right? That's what we learned. Necesitar, to need. Tomar, to take or to drink. I'm going through these. Make sure you're picking up what I'm putting down right here. Necesitar, to need. Tomar, to take, or it can be to drink. Okay. Caminar, to walk. Okay. To need, to take, to walk. Comer, to eat, right? Correr, all right? Correr, to run, right? Correr. Leer, to read. All right. Let's start from top right here. We're just putting it together. So we've got necesitar, to need, to take, or to drink. Okay. Caminar, to walk. Correr, to run. Leer, to read. Escribir. You can look at that word a little bit and kind of figure out what we're talking about. Escribir, escribir. We see that S-C-R-I-B, scrib, like scribble or write. Or you can think about back in the Egyptian days when we had scribes, right? So a scribe, their job was to write, escribir. Okay. Y también tenemos compartir, which is to share. Y el último verbo, abrir. Okay. Abrir, which is to open. Okay. So now, what are we at? We're at our ICE. We're still working on ICE, right? So we're working on the E in ICE, ending our sentences. And so what we have here are some prepositions that we need to use that's going to kind of help us out. All right. We've also got some possessive nouns that we need and some possessive adjectives, but mostly some prepositions, and we've got a few definite articles. All that jargon about grammar, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's go through and understand what these are. All right. So unos or unas. Remember that at sign can give you unos or unas, right? Which is some. Okay. Una, a or an in English. All right. Un, a or an as well. We've got the feminine form. We've got the masculine form. All right. Remember, gender matters in Espanol. All right. El, the, la, the. El es masculina, la palabra masculina, y la es la palabra femenina. All right. They both mean the, just depends on what your object is. Hola, señor Kings and Dreams. Bienvenido, señor. All right. And then down in this section, we've got me, which is my. Okay. So we've got some, a or an with una and un. El, la, which both mean the. Me, which is my. Me is my. Okay. A la, to the, something feminine. All right. To the. Al, which is to the, masculino. All right. Y la palabra en, which is in. Okay. In. So we've got those in that column. All right. That's going to tie and mesh our information together so that we can have these complete sentences. In the last column, la última columna, aquí tenemos parque, and I've highlighted parque, taxi, and pasaporte because they don't follow our normal rules, right? Parque, taxi, pasaporte. They don't end in O or A. So how are we supposed to know whether this is masculine or feminine? This is one of those things that eventually you learn by speaking and kind of figuring it out as you continuously use these words that they are indeed masculine, all right, or masculinos, all right. Palabras masculinas aquí, parque, taxi, pasaporte, all right. Now, all the other ones here, they follow our normal rules, right? Our normal rules are if it ends in A, it's going to be femenina. Now, this is 90% of the time. It's not always going to be the case. It's about 90 to 95% of the time that it will follow. I've given you some easier words here so that you can make sure this falls in line for you. Cerveza. Oh, let's go with parque. Hopefully you know what parque is. If you don't, parque is park. All right, parque is park. Cerveza, which is beer. All right. Libro, which is book. Taxi, which is taxi, and it's masculine. All right, masculino. Es una palabra masculina. Puerta, door, or it could be gate, like at an airport, the gate. All right, puerta, door. Tacos. All right, we know that that's masculine. We know that puerta is feminine. Tacos, we know. Good one right there. You know what the word parque means. Yes, sir. Tacos, which is, porque quieras. A mí no me gusta. We're going to work on that coming up soon. Yes. A mí no me gusta porque quieras. Excelente, señor. I understood what you were saying, though. That's half the battle right there. Tacos being masculine, and it's plural. Just know that in Spanish, if we add an S to a word, chances are it's going to be plural. All right? All right? All right. Hey, Robert Rogers, thanks for joining us today, senor. You are a first time. We're not going to do you like they do in church. Tell us where you're coming from. We're not going to do all that, but thank you for joining us today. We've got pizza, something easy right here. Femenina, right? Ends in A. Pasaporte, we talked about the ones that are highlighted in blue. They are automatically masculine. All right. And then our last one, carta. Hopefully you know what pasaporte is, by the way. I think that's a pretty good one to kind of figure out on your own. And carta. Carta is a letter, okay? And it is feminine. Now, what is it that I want you to do here? I want you to construct, create within the language, utilizing your columns from left to right. You're just going to go through, okay? The most important thing, gracias, cool KT. Appreciate you for being out there in the field, waiting on us to find out that you were there. Appreciate you being here, sir. So, as we come through this right here, this is where you apply everything that we talked about, okay? We're getting our subject. We're going to conjugate our verb. Now, if you don't remember what we did or you're just joining us slightly late, you can always run it back and see the illustration we did. Some people like to learn from a visual standpoint, right? And so what I did was I drew a flower, okay, with petals, and each petal had a, yes, sir, excelente. I know you down there, good stuff. And you want to take those petals off the flower, which are going to actually go along with your stem of your verb. Remember, let's practice this together. So I don't want you to, like, this is perfect practice to do all 8 of these verbs. You don't need to. We've got 5 subjects right here, right? We've got Patricia and I, Patricio y yo, which is Patrick and I. David y Juan, David and John, right? Tú, that's number 3. Yo, which is I, and then David. All right, so let's do one together here. I'm going to take one and put it together in the comment section, and I want you to see what I am working on right here. I'm going to do let's do David. I'm going to do David. And as I'm typing in David and an answer with David, I want you to come up and create your own sentence with David. Remember, identify, is it an AR, ER, or IR verb? Okay. Then what do? You drop that AR, ER, or IR. The third thing we need to do, take those rose petals or take those flower petals and make it agree with the stem and the subject. All right. So take a look. David, that's a he, right? Él. So if you go back to your chart that you've been looking at, you should know that whether I use an AR verb, an ER verb, an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb, I've got to make sure that I know what ending I'm going to use with that. All right. So David, he, I know that if it's an AR verb, it's going to end in A. If it's an ER or IR verb, I know it's going to end in E. Let's do a little, let's do one. Let me go with escribir, which is to write. Okay. Escribir. So this is the first part. All right. I'm putting this in the chat right here. David escribe. All right. Yes, yes, senor. Excelente. Kings and Dreams. That may would go right between the no and gusta, by the way. Porque quieras no me gusta. Or you could flip that sentence around and say no me gusta porque quieras. All right. You could use it that way. All right. So that's the first half. David escribe, right? Because it's an ER, it's an IR verb, right? Un verbo ir. It's an IR verb. I know that the el, ella, usted form, I'm going to take that IR off and I'm going to add the E, right? Or the verb, el verbo escribe. David writes, right? David writes. Now let's come on over here. We know these words because we just went through them. Park, beer, book, taxi, door or gate, tacos, pizza, passport, and letter. Now, he could write a book, but we are not going to use that. That's probably not the best option for us. We could use it, though, if you wanted to. Totally okay. He could be writing a book. I'm going to use the word letter, all right? So I want to say David escribe. I want to say David writes a letter. What word in our third column would give us that? David escribe. I need the word for a letter. What word would I use? Somebody give that to me in the chat. David escribe. And then, of course, you can go ahead and add on the word letter if you remember what that is as well. David escribe blank and then our word for letter. All right, cool, KT. Think about it. Look at our word for letter, which is carta. All right. Carta, it gives it away with the last letter. Everything, always remember to match number and gender. Thank you, Frank B. Appreciate you for pulling up, Chief. David escribe una carta. Yes, now, cool KT, you could actually use la. That would work. You could say David writes the letter. That would absolutely work. We're going to write David escribe una carta. All right. Gracias, Frank B, for your answer. All right. Gracias por su respuesta, señor. So what I want you to do here, somebody give us one additional sentence. We just did one together here. David escribe una carta. David writes a letter. Excelente, cool KT. Now, if you've got one in the rafters right now, you want to pull it down and give me an answer right here. This is how I know that we can move into the big surprise that I've got awaiting everybody. Man, I'm excited to give that information to you. I'm just waiting on somebody to give me this answer right now, though. Just give me one of these sentences. Come up with something. I wish we could work together on this, but right now I don't have the link drop, but that is coming. I promise you, we are going to work on dropping the link so that we can get some speaking practice in here coming shortly, and it's part of the big surprise here. All right. So anybody got a sentence right here? That's what we're looking for. If you don't have time, if it's something that's, you need to take some time to think about it, come back to the live. All right. And type it in the comment section for me. All right. Come back to the live and type it in the comment section. It could be one sentence. It could be 4 sentences. It could be 8 sentences. Put them all in there so that you can get your work checked. That is what I want to do, is to be able to check your work for you so that we know that you are on the right path. I'm not going to do another one right here. I'm going to let this sit here for you all to work on your own. This is your assignment. If you have not completed it already, make sure you put your answers into. Oh, look at Chelsea. Yo necesito la pizza. I like it. I need the pizza. Or could we say, Chelsea, give me a C or no, a 1 or a 2. Could I say, yo necesito una pizza? All right, Frank. While we're looking at yours, I like that answer there. But think about this. Necesitar. It's what type of, our first thing is we got to identify, is it an AR, ER, or IR verb? Yes, Chelsea, gracias. You knew what I was talking about. Excelente. Frank, I need you to understand or make sure you can tell me, is necesitar an AR, ER, or IR verb? All right. If it is an AR verb, then we've got to use AR endings, right? And if you can't remember, it's totally okay. They are let's see if we can jump back real quick. I don't know if I can, but we're going to see if we can find it. Let's jump back to, we got to go back a little higher here. Let's go to, nope, that's one more. Let's see here. Nope, got to go back a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going back here so that we can make sure Frank sees it. I don't know if Frank, if you were here. Cool KT, I like your answer, but look at this chart right here, Cool KT. Yeah, there we go, Frank, because you see right here, él, ella, usted, and we're talking about David, right? So you would say, David necesita un taxi ahora. I like it, man. I like it. That sounds like something you might have put into practice while traveling, all right? But you can talk about, say you've got a friend with you, right? This is the situation, and you could be at the hotel or you could be at the Airbnb, and you could be talking to somebody on the street and say, hey, David necesita un taxi, por favor. Or David necesita un taxi ahora, right? Ahora being now. Excelente, Frank. Now, Cool KT, let's come back to you. Looking at this ER chart, right? And you're talking about David, okay? You're using David. Remember, él, ella, usted. Those travel in the same format. So it would be yo, tú, él, ella, usted. So we need this one right here, Cool KT. So now rework your sentence. Remember, first step is to take off the ER, the AR, or the IR. And then you add the ending that matches your subject, which happens to be David. Okay, so give me that answer right there while we are waiting. Cool KT, put that in the chat for me. I appreciate you for giving me that answer. I'm going to skip all the way down because I'm not getting ready to put people through me clicking through everything. All right. Yeah, don't just shoot from the hip. Now, this is the good thing. When we're speaking Spanish, people are going to understand what you're trying to say, Frank, and it's totally okay. Don't overthink it. Just shoot from the hip. David necesita un taxi ahora. Hey, man, it's okay. I know what you were saying. And most Spanish speakers are definitely, all Spanish speakers, not some. All of them are going to know what you're trying to say. All right. So if you make that mistake, you will learn from it because they'll say, oh, David necesita un taxi. You can hear the correction, right? You can hear the correction when they say it. So if you say David necesita un taxi ahora, they probably will repeat it for you in the correct format. David necesita un taxi ahora, right? Necesita. That's how they give you what you should be saying without saying, hey, man, that's absolutely wrong. All right. Now, Cool KT, you got the same answer. You repeated the same answer. Take your ER off. Take that ER off, and then what do you need to do with it? Okay. Take that ER off and add that ending. If somebody can help Cool KT out right there, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right. While we are working on that, I'm going to go ahead and get into this situation right here. This is what I want to talk about coming up in the next few classes. I'm going to start dropping the link so that you can work on your pronunciation. All right. That is some of the things that we definitely want to accomplish. Right now, we've been building our our listening. We've been building our reading. We've been building our writing. There you go. Thank you, Frank B, for helping that out. Air high five to you, brother. All right. So we've been working on listening. We've been working on reading. We've even been working on writing, as you can see right here in the chat. All right. But here is what we're doing in the next episode. Okay. In the next episode, we're going to go back to stacking. All right. We talked about our stack method last Friday, actually. We didn't have class on Tuesday, but we're going to stack. All right. We're talking about double stacks, stacking cheddar, and then we're talking about just stacking. If you know what stacking is, hey, man, shout out to you. But that's what we're going to work on in combination with what we worked on today. Now, when is that going down, you may be asking, right? So we'll get to that in a second, but stay with me right here. All right. Hey, Cool KT, that's my man right there. David come tacos, right? David eats tacos, or David is eating tacos. Excelente, señor. Qué bien. All right, so remember, before we roll out today, before you put that sandwich down and finish this class right here, or we want to pick that sandwich back up and finish lunch, I understand that. But remember that I can. I want you to remember this. Put it to memory. Put it in your mental Rolodex or put it in your Spanish toolbox. Write it down. Take a picture. Whatever you need to do. I can, right? Yo puedo. All right. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know what song I'm getting ready to put behind the flyer or the thumbnail. You probably already know what song is coming with this word, yo puedo. All right. If anybody knows the song that I'm talking about, go ahead and drop it in the chat right there. If you know what song is coming for the next thumbnail. All right. So, ¿qué es la sorpresa, profe? Right? What's the surprise? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the surprise right here. We are coming back because this is the month of giving, right? We're coming back tomorrow, miércoles, right? We're coming back Thursday, all right? Hey, we got you. You come to the right place, Chelsea. All right, so we're going to be working with another live class. This is not something that we normally do, right? So tell a friend to tell a friend who might tell two other friends, all right? Tell them to join us and come in here and check us out. But we are coming back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, right? We're coming to Speak Spanish Now at 12 o'clock, mediodía, son las 12, a las 12, whatever you want to talk about, all right? A las 12, we're going to have another class right here tomorrow and as well as on Thursday. Oh, you're in town. Okay, Chelsea. Shout out to you. All right. It is tough, but you need this practice. And so we're going to get this work. All right. That is what I'm all about, is getting this work. You just keep showing up if you got time. Okay. So tomorrow, we've done today. We're coming back tomorrow. We're doing like a triple header. You know what I'm talking about? But not all in the same day, of course. All right. Hey, no doubt. No doubt, Kings and Dreams. I appreciate you for showing up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you are here. Make sure you continue to tell a friend. Make sure you show up. It's all about repetition, okay? This Spanish thing is not going to come to you if you take a day off or take 2 days off. All you need, is, the class is not going to be 10 minutes, but you give it 10 minutes a day. If you don't join me in a live class, just go through some of the stuff that we talked about for about 10 minutes a day. All right. And then when you jump back on into a class, I guarantee you'll be able to see the fruits of your labor. All right. So once again, thank you for joining me. Gracias a ustedes. Lastly, if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, or you know somebody that's wanting to learn Spanish, this is a great place for them to come and for you to come. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can continue to get this Spanish lesson, not necessarily just the live lessons. We also have the long form videos. We've got shorts. You can learn some of everything from all three facets of what we have. All right. And we're doing this with what? Free 99, because we're all about giving over here, damas y caballeros. Once again, thank you. Soy Profe Don Omar. Nos vemos.